Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a sleep physician, and if you have insomnia, this channel is for you. Listen, I wanted to share something with you that I read on Reddit. I read it on Reddit. As I mentioned before, Reddit is it's a huge site with multiple sub forums where people discuss various things, and there's a big subreddit on insomnia. And here's something I read the other day. It's a person with insomnia that has found that has had a breakthrough and is sharing what he or she did. So this person is writing here: try your absolute hardest to stay awake when you're in bed. That's classical paradoxical intention. Instead of trying to sleep, you try to stay awake, and paradoxically that helps you fall asleep. Try hard to keep your eyes open and concentrate on staying awake. Last night I was antsy about bed, but I put on the Sleep Me podcast and focused as hard as I could on listening and petting my dog at the same time. Boom! Fell asleep within 20 minutes. This has worked for me almost every night, especially when I can incorporate two senses, touch and listen, or sight, eyes open, and touch. Anyway, I thought I should share this because I feel like I've had a breakthrough. Now, I think the last thing this poster says is really interesting. Think about this. One of the classical problems with insomnia is that you can't shut your brain off. It just keeps on racing and racing in there. And there are various techniques to help with that. We have talked about journaling, writing down whatever you think about ahead of going to bed. We've talked about gradually relaxing muscle groups. We talked about a cognitive relaxation exercise. And all those techniques are really kind of to distract you from those recurring repetitive thoughts that keep you awake. Now, what this person is posting about is interesting. I never heard that before. The thought here is that if you kind of preoccupy two senses, you really strongly distract yourself from thoughts that may keep you awake. I think that's really an interesting thought. Because again, the more input, if you have input from two senses, that may very well be more distracting than just input from one sense. And then you can take it even further and say, should you try to have input from as many senses as possible? That'd be kind of crazy, but that'd be something you're looking at something, listening to a podcast, you have some incense going to smell that and you have some tactile thing going on as well. I'm not sure, but I think the thought is really an interesting one, and why not experiment with that if you have problems with racing thoughts and just problems falling asleep. But do keep two things in mind, like what I'm talking about today. I don't think it is the cure for insomnia. I believe that bedtime restriction and stimulus control are the key techniques that you really should be focusing on. However, other things can help. And secondly, just as I've said about, having a bedtime ritual, these relaxation techniques, and what I'm talking about today, involving multiple senses to distract you, that's never going to work if you do it too early. If you go to bed at, some random time, 9:30 p.m. and you're not even feeling sleepy, and you start listening to a podcast, have the incense going, you're petting your dog, that's not going to work if you're not sleepy. So just as I've said so many times before, if you're thinking about this, let me try to, have input from two senses, see if that can distract me, do that when you feel sleepy, not too early. Hope this was helpful, and I shall see you here, I hope, very soon. All right, bye for now.